Many people make a critical mistake when they hear the word ignorance. They think it simply means not knowing something. They think ignorance is innocent, like a child who hasn't learned yet. But I want you to understand today that ignorance is far more dangerous than mere lack of knowledge. Ignorance is a wall. It is a veil. It is a barrier that stands in the way of your purpose and your destiny. It is not just a passive absence of information, but an active force that limits your growth and blinds you to your own possibilities. You see, knowledge is the fuel of progress. Without knowledge, you cannot move forwards. You remain stuck in the same place, in the same patterns, repeating the same mistakes. Ignorance, however, does more than just withhold information. It keeps you from even seeking the truth. It is a condition of the mind that settles for what is comfortable, for what is familiar, for what does not challenge or require effort. Many people live their entire lives in ignorance, and what makes it even more tragic is that they do not even know it. They believe they are doing just fine. They think that success will come to them without having to change their way of thinking or growing in understanding. But the truth is, ignorance is the silent killer of dreams. It is the thief that steals your vision while you sleep in complacency. When I say ignorance is a barrier, I want you to imagine a mountain that stands between you and the life you want to live. This mountain is high, rugged, and difficult to climb. The mountain represents the challenges and obstacles of life. Now imagine that ignorance is a fog that envelopes that mountain. This fog is so thick that you cannot see the path, you cannot see the summit, and you cannot see the opportunities that lie ahead. Because you cannot see, you become afraid. You hesitate. You give up before you even start. Ignorance makes you blind to the realities that could empower you. It keeps you in darkness, unable to perceive the resources around you, the knowledge you need, or the mentors who could guide you. It hides from you the lessons of the past and the possibilities of the future. Without clarity, you stumble blindly, making poor decisions, wasting your time, your energy, and your God-given potential. Some people try to defend their ignorance by saying, "I don't need to know all that," or "I am fine with what I have." This is a dangerous mindset. It is the same as saying, "I choose to remain chained rather than to be free." Ignorance is a choice. You can choose to stay where you are, stuck in the comfort of not knowing, or you can choose to seek, to learn, to grow. The Bible teaches that knowledge is powerful. Proverbs tells us that the prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty. The prudent person is not the one who knows everything already, but the one who pursues knowledge, who looks ahead, who prepares. Ignorance keeps you simple or shallow, while knowledge makes you prudent and wise. Your potential is like a seed planted inside you. But a seed cannot grow in the dark, in ignorance. It needs light, knowledge, understanding, insight to germinate and flourish. Without the light of knowledge, your potential will remain dormant. You will never see the fullness of what you could become. I want to remind you that ignorance is not limited to formal education. It is not about degrees or certificates. You can be highly educated and still be ignorant of your true purpose, of how to manage your life, of how to develop your character. Ignorance is also spiritual and emotional. It can be ignorance of yourself, ignorance of your strengths and weaknesses, ignorance of how to relate to others, ignorance of how to steward your resources. Many people sabotage their own success because they are ignorant about what it truly takes to succeed. They believe that talent alone will carry them. They believe luck will favor them. They do not understand the importance of discipline, of learning, of surrounding themselves with the right people. Ignorance is what causes people to waste years chasing after the wrong dreams, the wrong methods, the wrong attitudes. To break free from ignorance, you must cultivate a mindset of humility. Humility is the door that opens to learnings. When you admit that you do not know everything, become teachable. When you are teachable, you are ready to grow. The proud person, however, closes that door. Pride says, "I know enough," or worse, "I don't need anyone's help." Pride keeps you locked in ignorance. Many times people blame their circumstances or others for their lack of success, but the root cause is often their own ignorance. They do not know how to improve, they do not know what is required, or they do not want to learn the lessons they need to learn. Ignorance is a kind of blindness that causes you to miss the opportunities God places right in front of you. I want to encourage you to take responsibility for your mind, to guard it against ignorance. Fill it with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Read books, seek mentorship, ask questions, and most importantly, be open to correction. the moment you begin to replace ignorance with knowledge. You begin to dismantle the barrier that blocks your success. Remember, the key to unlocking your potential is awareness. Ignorance blinds you, knowledge enlightens you. Ignorance paralyzes you. Knowledge empowers you. Ignorance keeps you small, knowledge makes you great. The choice is yours. You can remain in ignorance, trapped by what you don't know. Or you can decide today to break free, to pursue knowledge, and to unlock the greatness that has been inside you all along. Success is not an accident. It is not something that just happens by chance or good luck. Success is a product of deliberate effort, clear awareness, and a willingness to learn. Many people misunderstand what success really demands. They think that talent alone will bring success, or that success is simply about being in the right place at the right time. But the truth is, success is deeply tied to your mindset, specifically your awareness of your situation and your readiness to absorb new knowledge. Awareness is the foundation of success. Without awareness, you cannot see the opportunities before you. Without awareness, you cannot recognize the challenges that need to be overcome. Awareness allows you to understand your environment, your strengths, your weaknesses, and the resources available to you. It allows you to make decisions that are informed and strategic rather than random and reactive. Unfortunately, many people operate in life like they are asleep. They go through the motions without really paying attention to what is happening around them. They miss the signals, the lessons, and the signs that could guide them towards success. They are unaware of how their habits, attitudes, and choices either build their future or destroy it. Awareness means waking up from that sleep and seeing your life clearly and honestly. But awareness alone is not enough. Awareness must be coupled with a willingness to learn. Learning is the process that turns knowledge into action. Without learning, awareness remains static and ineffective. You may know that you need to change, but if you refuse to learn how to change, nothing will happen. Willingness to learn means humility. It means admitting that you do not have all the answers and being open to new ideas, new ways of thinking, and new methods. It means being teachable. One of the greatest obstacles to success is pride, the belief that you already know enough or that you don't need anyone else's guidance. Pride locks people in their current level of understanding and performance, making growth impossible. Learning is a lifelong journey. The world is constantly changing, and what worked yesterday may not work today. The successful person is the one who stays curious, who continuously seeks knowledge, who is willing to adapt and evolve. To be unwilling to learn is to be unwilling to move forward. Many successful people attribute their achievements not just to talent, but to their relentless pursuit of knowledge. They read books, attend seminars, seek mentors, and surround themselves with people who challenge their thinking. They understand that success is not static. It is dynamic and requires constant adjustment and improvement. Awareness also includes self-awareness, the understanding of your own strengths, weaknesses, emotions, and motivations. You cannot succeed if you do not know yourself. Self-awareness allows you to identify the areas where you need growth and development. It helps you to avoid pitfalls and to leverage your gifts effectively. When you are aware of weaknesses, you don't ignore them or pretend they don't exist. Instead, you take steps to address them, whether through learning new skills, seeking advice, or collaborating with others who complement you. Success is rarely a solo journey. It requires wisdom to know when to ask for help and when to learn from others. Being aware also means understanding the external world, the market, the economy, the people around you. Ignorance of your environment leads to missed opportunities and costly mistakes. The person who succeeds pays attention. They are observant, reflective, and intentional. They listen more than they speak and seek to understand before being understood. Willingness to learn goes hand in hand with resilience. Learning often comes through failure and setbacks. It requires the courage to face your mistakes, to analyze them, and to adjust your course. Those who refuse to learn from failure are doomed to repeat it. But those who embrace learning see failure as a teacher and a stepping stone to greater success. Many people give up too soon because they lack awareness of what is really required to succeed, or because they are unwilling to endure the learning process. Success is not a sprint, it is a marathon. It demands patience, persistence, and a mindset that values growth over comfort. Education is not just something you get in school. True education is an ongoing process that happens throughout life. It happens through reading, listening, practicing, reflecting, and applying. Every day presents an opportunity to learn something new that will bring you closer to your goals. If you want to succeed, You must cultivate an attitude of learning. Ask questions, seek feedback. Be curious about everything. Challenge your own assumptions, be open to change. Remember that wisdom does not come from knowing everything, but from knowing that you don't know everything. When you combine awareness with willingness to learn, you create a powerful force for success. You become adaptable, responsive, and proactive. You take control of your destiny instead of letting circumstances control you. You see possibilities where others see problems. You turn obstacles into opportunities. The difference between those who succeed and those who do not often lies in this simple principle. Those who are aware and willing to learn move forward, while those who are not remain stuck. It is not about having the perfect plan or the best resources. It is about your mindsets, your openness to growth, and your ability to see clearly and act wisely. In life, there will always be challenges that threaten to derail your progress. But if you are aware, you will recognize these challenges early. If you are willing to learn, you will find ways to overcome them. Success is not about avoiding difficulty. It is about being prepared to face it with knowledge and wisdom. One of the most deceptive traps in life is the comfort zone. It feels safe, familiar, and secure. Yet that very comfort zone can be a prison. One built not with iron bars, but with the walls of ignorance. Many people live in this prison without even realizing it. They mistake comfort for freedom, familiarity for progress, and safety for success. But the truth is, the comfort zone of ignorance is a deadly place because it keeps you locked away from your true potential and the abundant life that awaits you beyond. What is this comfort zone? It is the space where you repeat the same routines, think the same thoughts, and make the same choices day after day. It is where you stay because change feels risky, difficult, and uncomfortable. It is where you remain because stepping outside would require effort and facing the unknown. Ignorance, in this sense, is not merely not knowing. It is the refusal to confront what you don't know and the unwillingness to grow. The danger of this comfort zone is that it masquerades as safety. You tell yourself, I'm fine where I am. I don't need to change. It's better to be safe than sorry. But what you fail to see is that this so-called safety is a lie. It is a prison disguised as a sanctuary. And the walls of that prison are built fear. The fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of uncertainty, and even fear of success. Inside this prison, you feel secure because you avoid the challenges of growth. You avoid the discomfort of learning something new or doing something unfamiliar. You avoid the risk of stepping out and being vulnerable. But while you are safe, you are also stagnant. You are trapped. The very thing that you think protects you is what keeps you from advancing. Growth and success never happen in the comfort zone. They happen in the space beyond it, where discomfort and uncertainty live. The moment you step out of that zone, you open yourself to new experiences, new knowledge, and new opportunities. But to do that, you must first recognize that the comfort you have is actually a cage. Many people try to decorate their prison with excuses and justifications. They say, I don't have the time. I don't have the resources. This is just how life is. But these are illusions created by ignorance to keep you confined. The moment you accept those lies, you give away your power. You settle for less than what you were created for. The comfort zone also breeds complacency. It dulls your ambition and diminishes your visions. When you stay in the same place for too long, you begin to lose the hunger that drives you towards success. You become comfortable with mediocrity. You stop dreaming big because you have convinced yourself that bigger dreams require bigger risks. Ignorance fuels this complacency because it convinces you that you do not need more knowledge or better skills. It tells you that the way you have always done things is good enough. It whispers in your ear that you are fine just as you are, even when deep down you know that you are not living up to your full potential. But the truth is, the comfort zone kills creativity. It stifles innovation. It keeps you from discovering new talents, new passions, and new paths. The more you stay in it, the less you grow. The less you grow, the more distant your dreams become. You must understand that discomfort is not your enemy. Discomfort is the signpost of growth. When you feel uneasy, it means you are on the edge of your comfort zone, where transformation begins. Instead of running from discomfort, learn to embrace it. Lean into the challenge. Use it as fuel to propel you forward. Freedom and success require courage. The courage to leave behind the familiar and venture into the unknown. It requires the courage to face your fears and overcome them. It requires the courage to admit that you don't know everything and to seek wisdom beyond your current understanding. You are not meant to live life confined by ignorance or comfort. You were created for greatness, for purpose, for impact. But that can only happen when you break free from the prison of your own making. The moment you step outside your comfort zones, you will see the world in a new light. You will begin to realize that what once seemed scary is now an opportunity. The comfort zone is a trap because it sells you a lie that safety means no growth, no risk, and no change. But real safety comes from preparation, knowledge, and faith. Real safety is walking in the path that leads you to your purpose, even when it is uncertain. Real safety is knowing that you can handle whatever comes because you have equipped yourself with wisdom and courage. Many people never leave their comfort zones because they do not understand this truth. They are prisoners and they don't even know it. They mistake their ignorance for security and settle for a life far less than what they deserve. The key to breaking out of this prison is awareness. Awareness of your own habits, your fears, and your mindset. When you become aware, you can begin to challenge the false beliefs that keep you confined. You can begin to replace ignorance with knowledge, fear with faith, and complacency with action. You must be willing to take risks, to fail, and to learn from failure. You must be willing to be uncomfortable for a season. Knowing that discomfort is the gateway to growth, you must be willing to invest in yourself, to seek wisdom, and to surround yourself with people who inspire you to be better. The comfort zone of ignorance is the enemy of success. It keeps you trapped, silent, and stagnant. But when you break free, you will discover a life filled with purpose, progress, and possibilities. You will find that beyond the prison walls lies freedom, the freedom to become all that you were meant to be. Empowerment is not something that is given to you. It is not a gift that you receive without effort or responsibility. True empowerment begins the moment you take responsibility for your own education, for your own growth, and for the development of your mind and character. Many people look outside themselves expecting someone or something to change their situation. They wait for a teacher, a mentor, a lucky break, or an opportunity to come their way. But the real power to change your life is found within you, and it is activated when you decide to educate yourself. Taking responsibility means understanding that no one else is going to do the hard work of learning for you. It means that if you want to succeed, if you want to break through barriers, you must commit to the lifelong process of acquiring knowledge and skills. The moment you stop blaming circumstances or waiting for permission to grow, you step into empowerment. Education is more than just formal schooling. It is more than degrees or certificates. True education is the ongoing pursuit of wisdom, an understanding that equips you to navigate life's challenges and opportunities. When you take responsibility for your education, you begin to see learning as a privilege, not a chore. You become hungry for knowledge, hungry for insight, and hungry for growth. The first step toward empowerment is to recognize where you are ignorant or uninformed. Many people live in denial of their own limitations. They pretend to know what they do not know. But denial is a barrier to empowerment because it keeps you from addressing your weaknesses and filling your gaps. Taking responsibility means being honest with yourself. It means admitting, I don't know this yet, but I am willing to learn. When you adopt this mindset, you begin to change the narrative of your life. You move from being a victim of circumstances to becoming the master of your destiny. You no longer wait for someone else to hand you success. You take the initiative to prepare yourself to receive it. Empowerment comes from preparation, and preparation comes from education. It is important to understand that knowledge alone is not enough. Knowledge must be applied. Taking responsibility also means committing to action. You cannot simply accumulate information and expect your life to change. You must use what you learn to make better decisions, to develop better habits, and to build a better future. True empowerment is knowledge in action. Many people give up on themselves because they underestimate the power of education. They think it is too hard or too late. They think that if they missed out on formal schooling, they are doomed to remain limited. But education is a lifelong journey. You can educate yourself at any age, in any situation, and under any circumstances. The key is your willingness to take responsibility for it. When you take responsibility for your education, you also take control of your environment. You choose who you associate with, what you read, and how you spend your time. You become selective about what influences you allow into your life because you understand that your environment shapes your mindset. Empowered people surround themselves with other empowered people. They seek mentors, teachers, and friends who challenge them to grow. Taking responsibility is not always easy. It requires discipline and sacrifice. It means waking up early to read, attending seminars, practicing new skills, or investing time in self-reflection. It means saying no to distractions and yes to what builds you up. But the result of this responsibility is true empowerment, the power to change your life and the lives of those around you. Many successful people will tell you that their journey began the moment they took responsibility for their own learning. They stopped waiting for permission. They stopped blaming their circumstances. Instead, they sought knowledge relentlessly. They read books, listened to experts, took courses, and practiced consistently. This proactive approach is what separates those who achieve from those who merely dream. There is a principle that says, "To whom much is given, much is required." The same applies to knowledge and education. When you are given the opportunity to learn, it becomes your responsibility to make the most of it. When you take responsibilities, you honor the potential within you and the resources available to you. Empowerment also comes from understanding that you are responsible for the quality of your thoughts. What you think, you become. Taking responsibility means choosing to feed your mind with positive, constructive, and truthful information. It means rejecting ignorance, negativity, and false beliefs. It means renewing your mind daily through learning and reflection. When you commit to educating yourself, you break free from the chains of limitation. You open doors that once seemed closed. You gain the confidence to pursue your dreams with clarity and purpose. This is empowerment, not just a feeling, but a tangible ability to influence your life and your world. Many people fail to realize that empowerment begins with education because they view learning as a burden or a requirement imposed by others. But the moment you shift your perspective and see education as your personal responsibility and your pathway to freedom, you unlock a new level of power. You become the author of your story rather than a bystander. The journey of education is not always smooth. It may require you to confront uncomfortable truths, to change your mindsets, and to develop new habits. But this process of transformation is the essence of empowerment. When you take responsibility for your education, you are choosing to be free from ignorance, free from limitation, and free from the past. Taking responsibility to educate yourself is the foundation upon which all success is built. Without it, you will be vulnerable to the influence of others who may not have your best interests at heart. With it, you become a force of nature, unstoppable in your pursuit of greatness. Growth is shiftpins. Growth is not a passive process, does not come from waiting or hoping or simply wishing things would get better. Real growth happens when you confront your ignorance directly and take decisive action to overcome it. Ignorance is not just a lack of knowledge. It is often the unwillingness to face the areas in which you are weak, unprepared, or mistaken. To grow, you must be courageous enough to face those blind spots with honesty and humility. Without this confrontation, growth remains impossible, and your progress will be limited by the very things you refuse to acknowledge. The first step in confronting ignorance is awareness, seeing clearly where you lack understanding or skill. Many people shy away from this kind of self-examination because it can be uncomfortable, even painful. It requires humility to admit, "I don't know this," or "I've been wrong." But the willingness to admit ignorance is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strength and maturity. It is the foundation upon which growth is built. Once you identify your areas of ignorance, action must follow. Awareness without action is merely intellectual curiosity. It does not change your life. Growth demands that you step out in faith and begin to learn, practice, and apply new knowledge and skills. This process may involve trial and error, setbacks, and failures, but it is through these experiences that real growth takes place. You cannot grow by staying in your comfort zone or by pretending you already know everything. Taking action against your ignorance means making a commitment to change. It means dedicating time and effort to study, to practice, and to seek guidance. It means being intentional about your personal development. Growth does not happen by accident. It happens when you decide that your current state is not good enough and that you are willing to do what it takes to improve. One of the greatest barriers to growth is fear. The fear of failure, the fear of judgment, the fear of the unknown. But when you confront your ignorance, you are forced to confront those fears as well. Growth requires courage. The courage to step into uncertainty and to keep moving forward even when you don't have all the answers. Those who allow fear to hold them back remain stagnant, while those who act in spite of fear grow stronger and wiser. Growth also involves a change of mindset. Ignorance often comes from fixed thinking, the belief that you are limited by your current abilities and circumstances. But growth requires a growth mindset, the understanding that your abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort and learning. When you embrace a growth mindset, you see challenges as opportunities rather than obstacles. You view mistakes as lessons rather than failures. This shift in perspective is crucial for overcoming ignorance and achieving success. Another important aspect of growth is accountability. When you confront your ignorance and take action, it helps to have others who support and challenge you. Accountability partners, mentors, and communities provide encouragement, feedback, and perspective that keep you on track. They help you to stay committed to your growth journey and to avoid falling back into old patterns of ignorance or complacency. Growth is a continuous process. Even after you overcome one area of ignorance, new challenges and learning opportunities will arise. Life is dynamic and the world is constantly changing. To stay relevant and successful, you must remain committed to confronting ignorance throughout your life. This lifelong commitment to growth ensures that you do not become trapped in outdated thinking or habits. Many people misunderstand growth as a destination rather than a journey. They believe that once they gain a certain amount of knowledge or achieve a particular goal, they have arrived. But growth is ongoing. It requires constant self-evaluation, learning, and adaptation. The moment you stop confronting your ignorance is the moment you stop growing. When you confront your ignorance head-on, you open yourself to transformation. You begin to see yourself and your potential more clearly. You break free from the limitations of false beliefs and misinformation. You gain confidence because your actions are rooted in knowledge and wisdom. This transformation affects every area of your life: your relationships, your career, your health, and your sense of purpose. It is important to understand that growth is often uncomfortable. It stretches you beyond what feels safe and familiar. But discomfort is a sign that you are moving in the right direction. Instead of avoiding discomfort, learn to embrace it as a necessary part of the growth process. Each challenge you face and each action you take against ignorance strengthens your character and your capacity to succeed. You must also realize that growth requires patience. It does not happen overnight. It is a step-by-step process that requires consistent effort over time. You may not see immediate results, but every small action builds momentum. Over time, this momentum creates significant change. The key is persistence, continuing to confront ignorance and take action even when progress seems slow. Growth happens when you are intentional about learning from your experiences. Reflection is a powerful tool in this process. Taking time to assess what you have learned, how you have applied it, and what you still need to improve helps you stay focused and effective. Without reflection, you risk repeating the same mistakes or missing valuable lessons. Ultimately, growth through confronting ignorance leads to empowerment. It breaks the chains that hold you back and propels you toward your highest potential. When you act on what you learn, you not only improve your own life, but also influence those around you positively. Growth becomes a ripple effect that extends far beyond your individual journey. The journey to success begins not in the world outside, but within your own mind. Your ignorance is not a sentence, it is a starting point, a call to action. When you refuse to face what you don't know, you build walls around your destiny, locking yourself away from the greatness that is meant for you. But when you choose to step out of your comfort zone, take responsibility for your education, and confront your ignorance head-on, you open the door to transformation. Success is not reserved for the gifted or the fortunate. It is available to those who are willing to learn, grow, and act. Empowerment comes when you accept that you are the author of your own life story. No circumstance, no person, no limitation can hold you back once you decide to educate yourself and pursue knowledge relentlessly. Remember, growth is a continuous journey, a daily commitment to rise above ignorance and mediocrity. It demands courage, discipline, and faith. It asks you to embrace discomfort as a sign that you are moving forward. It calls you to persist even when the path is uncertain. So do not be afraid to admit what you don't know. Do not settle for safety disguised as stagnation. Instead, break free from the prison of ignorance and step boldly into the life you were created to live. Your success depends on it. Your purpose demands it. The world awaits the greatness only you can bring.